Hey, what is going on guys? RvzStealth here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the AD carry tier list for patch 7.8. Now in this patch, I won't be ranking Xayah, mainly because she just got released, and it's kind of too early to tell exactly how strong she really is. I haven't really seen enough of the champion yet to really give a good explanation or give a good rundown on why she would be in a certain spot in the tier list. But with that being said, let's get started. So starting it off in the tier 1 for this patch is going to be Lucian. Now Lucian in this patch right now is one of the strongest AD carry champions, and it's not really because he got buffed a lot recently or because he just got this really big buff that made him super OP. It's mainly because of Blade of the Ruined King and the changes that item got. Basically the strongest AD carries right now, or the majority of the strong AD carries, are AD carries who can go for the Blade Rush. The Blade Rush is just such a cost-efficient item right now. It just gives you a really good early game power spike. It basically gives you all the stats that you want for an AD carry. Attack speed, it gives you good attack damage, lots of lifesteal now after the buff. So it's overall just a great item, and it's making Lucian a really strong pick in patch 7.8. Now not only is Blade of the Ruined King really good on Lucian, the combo of Blade and Black Cleaver along with like Ninja Tabis, if you end up picking those up, it's just so hard to kill the champion. He's got the HP from the Black Cleaver, he's got armor from the Tabis, he's got Kite from the Blade of the Ruined King, as well as a gap closer in his kit too. So if you're going up against a good Lucian player and he gets ahead early and he gets to that item build pretty early on, then it's going to be really hard to kill him, and he's still going to be able to deal so much damage. Now for when you should not pick Lucian right now, I think that if he's not banned, then you should probably be picking him up if you're a good Lucian player. Statistically, he struggles a little bit against Kog'Maw. I think a good Caitlyn player can also do pretty well against Lucian in the laning phase, because if Lucian tries to like dash in, for example, and the Caitlyn plays it well, she can just net him, get lots of free damage off with the auto and follow up with a Q. So I think the Caitlyn lane's a little bit hard for Lucian, but other than that, I really don't think he's got too many hard lane matchups. So if you're a good Lucian, look to pick him up in this patch for sure. Next up in the tier 1 here is going to be Twitch. So Twitch along with Lucian is really strong with the new Blade of the Ruined King. The early game power spike you get with that item on Twitch is really good, and once you do get to your core build on Twitch of like Blade, Runins, and your Infinity Edge, you become one of the strongest teamfight AD carries. He's also pretty good in this meta right now too, because the support meta is a lot of these like heal and shield supports being played. We're seeing a ton of Karma, Lulu if she's not banned, Janna, and those support champions just synergize really well with Twitch and with immobile AD carries. They can just keep him really safe in team fights as long as they can just throw their shields on the Twitch, and if the Twitch is like max item in a late game team fight, he's gonna single-handedly carry that team fight as long as he can position decently. Now with the blade changes, it also makes his roaming in the early game super strong. So what Twitch can do that no other AD carry in the game can do is he can look to go for these sneaky roams because of his Q. If you get ahead in the laning phase as Twitch, I would highly advise to not sit bot lane. I would look to at least look to go for a roam either mid lane or top lane if you do end up taking the enemy's tower, because with your Q stealth, with the slow from your W, as well as the slow that you get from the Bork, you should be able to pick up a pretty free kill wherever you do roam as Twitch. So for when you should not be picking Twitch in this patch, statistically he actually doesn't lose against any AD carry right now. The only AD carry that's coming close to beating him is Lucian, and Lucian has a 49.5% win rate against Twitch, so that matchup is pretty even right now. Twitch definitely does not have the strongest early game for any AD carry, so I think that's probably the reason to why Lucian can do pretty well in that matchup. If Lucian can get to his Cutlass and Twitch is also on Cutlass, I think a Lucian with Cutlass is quite a bit stronger than a Twitch, so the Lucian can definitely look to bully him in the early game if it is a good Lucian player. So next up here is going to be Kog'Maw. Now Kog'Maw right now is strong for the similar reasons that Twitch is really strong right now. So Kog'Maw, he's great with these meta supports. Janna, Soraka, Lulu just synergize really well with Kog'Maw and can keep him really safe in team fights. The Bork, Runins, and Rageblade power spike that this item has is absolutely insane too. Kog'Maw's actually one of the only AD carries that once you get to that 3-item spike on him, you really don't need more damage items to be effective. A lot of Kog'Maw players, what they'll go is they will go Bork, they'll go Runins, Rageblade, and then after that they'll just go really tanky with like Asterix and a Frozen Mallet. And with those tankier items in the late game, it just makes it so hard to kill the Kog'Maw. You're gonna run the Storm Raiders a lot of the time on the champion, at least that's the mastery that's doing the best on him right now. And with your Storm Raiders proc, with the amount of health that you're gonna be getting from the Asterix and the Frozen Mallet, and just the amount of damage you can do with the percent health on your W and the Bork, makes Kog'Maw one of the strongest mid to late game AD carries in this patch. And then for when and when you should not be picking Kog'Maw right now, 2 AD carries that are beating him in this patch are Twitch and Miss Fortune. I think the main reason to why those AD carries are doing pretty well against Kog'Maw is because both of them do outrange Kog'Maw. Now most other AD carries in the game, they don't outrange Kog'Maw because of his W, but the Miss Fortune ultimate and the Twitch ultimate, both those abilities will end up outranging the Kog'Maw W, so it does make it a lot harder for him to like get in there during team fights. If Miss Fortune can get a really good ultimate off when the Kog'Maw is trying to get in to deal damage, then it is going to chunk him really low. So those are the only AD carries that I would try to avoid. Other than that, he's not really having too much trouble against any of the other AD carries in this patch. And then to round out the tier 1s for this patch is going to be Caitlyn. So Caitlyn's actually one of the only AD carries right now that's not really benefiting too much from the Bork changes. The best win percent build on Caitlyn right now is still going for a Runins, Infinity Edge, Rapid Fire Cannon. Some people are going for a Bork Rush. Only 7% of people are going for that. So I think people realize that the crit build is still really good on Caitlyn, and that is the one you should be going for. Now she's actually one of the only AD carries that can deal with Lucian in the laning phase. Caitlyn really doesn't have too many bad matchups, which is why she's just overall one of the safest and most reliant AD carry picks. If you end up getting auto-filled to AD carry, or you just want to play a very safe AD carry champion, then Caitlyn is probably one of the best picks that you can play in this patch. In my opinion, her traps are honestly one of the most broken non-ultimate abilities in the game. If you end up stepping on a Caitlyn trap as a squishy champion and she's got a few items, you're gonna take below half HP, or that's gonna take you down below half HP. And if you can get a few of those off in team fights and the enemies end up stepping on them quite a bit, then your damage output with Caitlyn is just absolutely insane. Now for when and when you should not be picking Caitlyn, she is tier 1 for a reason. So if you're a good Caitlyn player, I don't think there's really too many scenarios as to when you should not be picking her. Statistically, she struggles a little bit against Twitch, Kog'Maw, and Miss Fortune, but most other AD carries are also struggling against those 3 in this patch. So I wouldn't really pay too much attention to those statistics. If you're confident on your Caitlyn, then I would be picking her no matter the situation in this patch. Now, if we take a look at the tier 2 AD carries for this patch, these are going to include Ashe, Draven, Jinx, Miss Fortune, Kalista, Ezreal, Ziggs, and Varus. Now, I was thinking about doing a tier 1.5 for AD carry here, and if I was going to do a tier 1.5, I would have Varus, Miss Fortune, Ashe, and Ziggs in that tier 1.5, but I think most of these AD carries here in the tier 2 are around the same level. Like for competitive play, Ashe and Varus, they would be a little bit higher on a tier list, but for solo queue, I think that Ashe and Varus are on the same level as most of these other AD carries in the tier 2. Now in the tier 3 for this patch is going to be Vayne, Jhin, Sivir, and Tristana. Now I want to take a look at Vayne here because she's an AD carry champion to where I always see a lot of comments in these tier lists saying like, why isn't Vayne higher up? Why is Vayne always so low? There's a few reasons to why Vayne is not a really good AD carry in this patch right now. Number 1, Lucian and Caitlyn are two of the strongest and most picked AD carry champions, and Vayne into Lucian and Caitlyn is a losing lane for Vayne unless you're a god Vayne player. And even like Gosu said a few days ago on stream that Vayne is just not worth picking. She's one of the worst AD carries in the game right now due to the fact that she just can't contest, or she can't go up against Caitlyn, Lucian, like Twitch in the laning phase right now. So unless you are a challenger, insanely good Vayne player, she's really not worth picking over a lot of the other AD carries in 7.8. So that is going to be all for this video, guys. If you did enjoy, then please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you have yet to already. So thanks for watching, have an awesome day, and I will see you in my next video.